Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. There are so many different aspects to shooting and the shooting sports and what's going on, to the point where there are parts of it that the general public doesn't know anything about. I dare say that one of those areas is one we're going to be talking about right now, and that is the whole world of suppressors, mufflers, if you will, an attachment for your firearm that makes it quieter, not silent, but quieter. And there are other benefits that come from that. And of course, there are some restrictions and requirements when you buy a suppressor. And one of the fellows who really knows a lot of this, he's kind of our go-to guy when we have questions about suppressors, is Brandon Maddox from Silencer Central. Hey, Brandon, how are you, sir?
Great. How about you, sir?
Well, I am good. So, all right, I told you, I already prepped you. I said, I got a question. I keep hearing from people who say if you put a suppressor on your rifle, obviously you're going to get it quieter. It's going to make it quieter. But I keep hearing people say, well, it actually can make a rifle more accurate. I kind of think maybe in my head I have an idea how that happens, but I think I'm probably making it up. So you're the suppressor guy. You're the silencer guy. Is it true that a suppressor can make your rifle more accurate?
Yes, sir. Correct. So, we get that question a lot at events, and the reverse question is usually they'll say, I'm afraid it's going to hurt my accuracy. Oh. So in their mind, their gun is, where they know it's at and where they want it to be. So they're scared to add anything to the front of it that it's going to hurt accuracy. So that's when we throw in that factoid you said that the only time it's not going to make your rifle more accurate is if it's not threaded properly, and so that's important. If your accuracy is messed up, your barrel's not threaded correctly. But assuming everything is threaded correctly and it's shouldering up on your barrel there the way it should, then it does tighten your bullet groups, which of course is the measure of accuracy, and it's because you have the extra weight on the end of the barrel. So it's the same concept that people use for a bull barrel, like if you're shooting varmints or something like that.
Okay. Because I had thought it might be, you have, when a bullet exits the muzzle, you have this blast of gas behind it, and that's why we want to have a target crown and have everything just right, so the muzzle blast of this powder and these gases push out, and they are even on all sides, and a suppressor bleeds off a lot of that gas. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, maybe there's a benefit to having the bullet exit with less gas pushing on the back of it. Anything there?
That's a good question. I mean, so when I first got into the industry, I started reading a lot of books about it. And, they did sort of talk about different theories, but afterwards they decided it's essentially just the extra weight on the end of the barrel is functioning like a bull barrel. But no, that's a good question, because a lot of people think it hurts their velocity. So I guess video games will show that it slows the bullet down. So a lot of younger people say, oh, well, in my video games it slows it down, so I don't want to use it. And it actually speeds it up because of what you just said. It's almost like having a longer barrel, if you will.
Interesting. Okay. Well, so Tom's theory of the gas pushing on the back of the bullet, that's just a theory. I told you I made it up, so I didn't know where it came from, but that's why I have you on here to ask about this stuff. I want to ask you, you mentioned, we kind of went by it quickly, the idea of, is your barrel threaded correctly? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, good question. So, we started working events like the gun shows is where we got our initial start. And I could just tell by looking at people, they were totally on board with, I want to get a suppressor / silencer. But then I could tell in their head, they're like, well, who's gonna thread the barrel? And I could just tell that they probably didn't trust their local gunsmith. That's just not something they do every day. And so that's when we said, okay, we'll bring that in-house, and we bought a computerized CNC lathe just to make sure it's done, 100% accurate, professional, and just for the high volume we have, you need a computerized lathe. But, it seemed like when we had a warranty claim, like if someone sent a silencer back to us for repair, it wasn't, 90% of the time, it was 100% of the time the barrel wasn't threaded properly.
So if it's not threaded properly, then I'm just imagining the suppressor, the silencer may not be straight. Could you actually get a baffle strike where the bullet actually touches the inside of the suppressor?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. So that's why when you hear people say, well, I'm having accuracy problems with my silencer, then, they'll look in there and they'll say, I can't see where it's touching anywhere, but typically it is. That's the problem. So, we have like professional guide rods we put in there to check it after it's threaded once it's on there. Mm-hmm. One culprit is some people leave their flash, that little washer when you take the flash hider off from their ARs, and that'll cause the same issue, alignment. And a lot of times it's just for whatever reason the shoulder wasn't cut right, or maybe the hole through the middle of the barrel is not concentric with the barrel, so you have to thread based on the hole going through the barrel, not the barrel itself. So there's a lot of things. I've seen some examples where it's like, wow, there's some people even send barrels into us just to test them for them, but we do a good job, and once we thread it, we check the alignment to ensure it's 100% on before it leaves.
Okay, if somebody's having a problem, obviously they've already got a threaded barrel. Can you have a barrel rethreaded? Can you guys fix that?
Yeah, so sometimes it's just the shoulder is not straight, so we can fix that without having to completely rethread it.
Okay. So, I was looking, obviously you got this great lineup. You got suppressors for 22 rimfires and 223s. The Banish 30, which is kind of the gold standard in terms of, you can shoot everything in there. And I was looking at my gun safe. I've got a kind of an older on-shoots 22 bolt action. I was thinking, now, that would be cool to put a little suppressor on. Obviously, it's older. It does not have a threaded barrel. But would I need to send you the entire gun to have that threaded?
Yeah, good question. So we do have a process where we'll mail you an empty gun case, and you can send the entire firearm if you want, the entire rifle, or you could just send the barrel, whatever is more convenient for you. Some people, don't feel comfortable sending the whole gun. Some people only want to send the barrel, but whatever is easier for you. Yeah, totally. We have a gunsmith on staff that takes them apart, and then we have a machinist that machines them. So we can handle whichever way works best for you, or whatever works best for people.
In other words, what I hear you saying is I don't have to worry about you messing up my gun.
Yeah, exactly. We'll definitely, if something happens, we're going to replace it. Rarely, but FedEx Ground has been fairly easy to work with. We found them to be more firearms friendly than UPS.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell you what, Brandon, hold on a second. I need to take a break. When I come back, I want to kind of go through the process because there are more and more people interested in suppressors and kind of how does the process work? Because there's some paperwork involved. Brandon, if you will, because a zillion people have gotten suppressors, and then a whole lot more people are interested, but they're kind of intimidated by the process. Talk to me about the process of having and owning a legal suppressor.
Yeah, good question. So, the backdrop is we've been doing it since 2005, and that's all we do. And we're licensed in all 42 states. We've got a lot of experience in, helping with the process and sort of fine-tuning it over the years. But the first step is typically, we do find a lot of customers just like to call in and talk to someone just to kind of hear live on the other line. So we have a full call center where people can call in and ask questions about, which one do I need? Should I get the 30 cal and use it on every, rifle I own? And a lot of people seem to like that, touch point to get some help selecting the right one. And as you mentioned, we have a whole portfolio of Banish products and other suppressors out there. But we would help the customer select which one they want, and then we capture the information that we would need over the phone. Of course, we can do this online as well, but we just data entry it in, and then we're able to create the forms specific to the person that the ATF is going to require. In simplest terms, think of it as a title transfer. Think of it as the feds having us ownership, and we're asking them to transfer the title of ownership to the customer. And once they approve that, we mail it to their front door. Yeah, it shows people seem to catch on. Most guys have trucks. I say, hey, have you ever bought a truck? Yes. The analogy is very similar, except you get to leave the car lot with your truck. You don't get to leave with a silencer. We have to mail it to your front door. But yeah, we capture the information. We actually send them the paperwork digitally. Customer digitally signs. It comes back to us. We print it and submit it to the feds for processing. The other thing we have to get is a 2x2 photo, which it doesn't say passport, but a lot of people are familiar with just sort of a 2x2 photo. A lot of guys will do it in their house, up against a window with a smartphone. Up against like a white wall with a smartphone. We also send customers fingerprints. The statutes are written in 34 and they require fingerprints. So we send you a little ink pad and the blank cards. We give you a little video on how to take your own prints. You submit those back to us.
Home fingerprint kit. I like it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then we send that entire packet off to the ATF, and when they send it back to us approved, we'll send you a text and email and do a little bit more paperwork digitally, and then we're able to mail it to your front door. So, the goal at Silencer Central is to make it simpler, and we do find that's the biggest obstacle for customers. It's not necessarily which one should I buy, or it's more of, gosh, help me understand the process. And once they hear that we've nailed it since 2005 and making it easier, they kind of go, all right, let's do it.
Okay, question for you.
Yes, sir.
You have a lot of different suppressors that you make, a lot of silencers.
Yep.
Typically, people will buy one, and then they say, oh, I like this. I want to get more than one. Can you put them all in the same form so now you're not having to put in different forms? Could I put like 2 or 3 and buy them all at the same time and then just do the process one time?
Yeah, good question. So that's pretty popular. And the reason why it's popular is we let people pay while they wait. So we call it easy pay. And so a lot of guys will call and say, hey, I just want one. And we say, hey, do you want to just do the process once and just get 3, and we'll let you pay while you wait. We don't charge you interest or anything. And most guys are like, yeah, let's do that. So, so essentially it's the same paperwork that we would get from you, and we would send it to you digitally. So, instead of 2 signatures for one silencer, be like 6 signatures. So it's not that much different.
Okay.
We would create a gun trust specific to you and your state. So that would go with it. We would submit that with it. It would just be one set of fingerprints. And then the other beautiful thing is we keep all this on file. So if you decide later, hey, I want to get a 4th or 5th suppressor put into that same trust, we keep your fingerprints and photo on file, and we can submit it again.
Oh, nice.
Just with a couple of signatures. Yeah, it works out really nice.
Okay. You mentioned a trust. You guys do that too?
Yeah, for sure. So, like I said, we've been doing it since 2005. We've unfortunately seen the scenarios when someone passes away and they wish they had done a trust. So we just decided that that's for sure 100% the best way to go is to buy a suppressor in a trust. We find a lot of local stores are not as familiar with it, so they try to discourage customers from it. But we realize it's probably more work on us, but we think it's the right thing to do. So we find that the benefits are that the trust owns the suppressor. So when you pass away, it's kind of already defined who gets it. And then the other benefit is it allows you to share it while you're alive. So, if you have a son that wants to use it, or daughter or spouse, we maintain that for you. Yeah, exactly. We can put them on the trust.
So when you pass away, it really doesn't matter because you didn't own it anyway. The trust owns it, and the people who are in the trust are still part of the trust. So it's pretty much, and the point here is, if you don't have that, then whoever gets the suppressors in the will or anything else, now they have to go through the paperwork process again with the government.
Yeah, 100%. You're 100% correct. Yeah, Form 5. So, and the hard part there is we just find that, maybe a elderly spouse, female, she's like, how do I get rid of this thing? What do I do with it? Right. I can't do the paperwork. I don't want to have to hire a lawyer. It puts an undue burden on your family when, we create a trust, and, our insight is we would just put you on it initially, and then once it's approved, a stroke of a pen can add anyone else you want as long as they're 18 or older. So the ATF doesn't do background checks, and the ATF doesn't have to be updated if you add someone to the trust later. So that's the, sort of the insight we work with, because some companies will submit a trust and you might have, say 10 people on there. That it's going to take forever for that silencer to get approved because they've got to vet and do background checks on all those people.
But now, here's a question. Can members of your trust be in different states? Do they have to be all in the same state?
Yeah, good question. No, not at all. So, and they could even be in states where the silencer, for example, I have a trust set up with Bo Jackson, the football player, and so we store them in South Dakota, but he lives in Chicago. So, of course, he can't use them in Illinois because they're illegal in Illinois, and he can't use them in Chicago. But when he comes here to hunt with me, then he and I can both use the suppressors because we have a trust together. So, yeah, they could be in other states. You just have to get the person in the state where they're actually lawful that would do the paperwork to take possession of them initially.
I know you got all this stuff on your website. There's a lot involved, but the reality is that's what you guys do is you make it simple. SilencerCentral.com. Got a lot of cool suppressors there. Anything special we need to know before I let you go here in terms of what you guys are up to now?
Yeah, good question. So we're going to roll out some new branding, so you'll see some, new logos and stuff. That's exciting. I would say we're just continuing to try to get our name out there. We started out as a regional company, kind of based in the Midwest. So before we were Dakota Silencer, but within the last few years, we've switched over to Silencer Central as sort of a broader name. But the goal is just to get the message out that we can sell suppressor silencers to anyone in the 42 states where they're legal. We can let you pay while you wait.
Let me interrupt you. Do I see here that you guys are hiring?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have between 20 and 30 openings right now. So it's we're anticipating the e-forms. We feel like that this fall the ATF is going to roll out the e-forms, and they're telling us, we're part of their beta testing, and it's pretty exciting because, we're looking at quick transfers on these, and then for us being in all 42 states, it's a huge opportunity for us.
So where are you located?
Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Nice place to be. Brandon, thank you so much. I mean, like I say, man, you are the answer man on this. That's why I'd love to get you on here because I got all the questions and we have the answers. That's perfect.
Yeah, thank you, sir. We're honored to be on here. And if you have any other questions, just let us know, sir.
We'll do it. And if anybody has any questions, they can just go to Silencer Central. Even have people who can help, people who answer the phones, do all the rest of it. Brandon, take care. Appreciate that, sir. Yeah,
yes, sir.
That. I got to take a look at that on-shoot. It's a little 22. I'll tell you, a bolt-action 22 with a suppressor with subsonic ammo is so quiet you just can't believe it. I got a good buddy who he actually has one set up with a shorter stock and uses it for introducing kids to shooting, and then he takes them out squirrel hunting. Wow, that's cool. Very cool. So we got a lot of things going on around here.